All right, everybody, welcome to episode 179 of the Follow-Tonians. Eric here, as always, in Overland Park, Kansas. Ped, as sometimes in Old Swan, Liverpool. It's it's going pretty good, Ped.
It's alright, Eric. If you like baseball and you support the Kansas City Royals and your name's Eric Allen, it's your birthday today and you're 37 years of age.
Yeah,
Apart from that, it's gone quite good.
I could have done with two more runs from the Royals last night. That would have been a little bit better. But to be able to go to Game 7, the deciding and decisive game of the Major League Baseball season was very cool. Very, very fun experience, something that I won't ever forget. It's just unfortunate that my team came up, decided to become Everton.
Losers.
Yeah, it felt so much like the cup final against Chelsea. It really did. That same sense of, it's been so long since we've been back at Wembley, and we're playing against a team that's won it a lot of times lately, and the Royals were never up like really early in this game, but it felt like they had a chance to really do something special and get a trophy after 29 years. And hasn't quite been that long for Everton yet, and hopefully it doesn't get to that point. But yeah, losing to the San Francisco Giants definitely felt like Everton losing to Chelsea.
My commiserations.
So now you kind of know, more firsthand, like how I felt last night, I guess. I would say that it's very similar to that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
just gutted.
It might even feel even worse. It might even be. Surely it's more than an FA Cup. Surely it's more like a Champions League final, if anything else.
Well, yeah, I mean it's the big. It's so hard to compare two sports, but it is the biggest thing that you can win in baseball in the world. There's nothing bigger. So I don't know if it's a World Cup losing in the final or what, but it's not awesome, Pet. I'll tell you that.
No.
No, it's not. It's not the Lego movie.
No.
Do
you know what is awesome though?
What is awesome, Pet?
Samuel Etoo.
Transition us to something else, please.
Samuel Etoo is awesome.
Is Samuel Etoo in an Everton shirt on a free transfer is pretty awesome. I mean, yeah.
It beats paying 16 million for someone.
Yeah, it beats paying 16 million for someone. It beats, paying for someone that gets injured every week. It's just thinking back to everything that he's done in his career and anywhere that he could have gone this past summer that he actually chose. It was down to him what he wanted to do, and he chose to sign for Everton.
Goosebumps.
It's just mind-boggling a little bit, isn't it, Ped?
It's goosebumps, that, isn't it?
Right.
It's just wonderful. Wonderful stuff.
It is wonderful. He gets to start at Burnley. See young Ross on the bench. Lineup. I mean, the lineup when we're fit or close to fit, or maybe just whenever we have Seamus Coleman in there, it looks really good.
Well, as you just said, when everyone, we've been saying this all season, when everyone's up to a decent level, then the first team doesn't necessarily pick itself. There are changes that can be made. People like Etoo can come into the side. If Ross is not 100% fit, it doesn't mean he's going to start the game. He can drop out, and there are other options, and we don't have to worry necessarily about some positions. the likes of right back where you only ever want to see one player start.
Right.
But there are a couple of positions in the pitch where you think, yeah, well, there can be changes there, and Ross has only just come back. He played his first game against Villa, obviously. Probably got through more on adrenaline than anything else. You've got, he's on the bench for the game against Lille, and then he's on the bench for the game against Burnley, which is always going to be probably a little bit more physical than the other games. So the
Yeah,
manager's trying to
it's a little
protect him.
more kicky, pushy.
Well, it was certainly more kicky. They were, at times taking lumps out of some of our players, and they were taking the turns as well. So he doesn't want to put Ross back in a situation where he's picking up fouls, or picking up injuries because of the opposition and their lack of
Yeah, but
style.
when he did get in, it didn't take them long to kick him. So
No,
it was good that it was only for half an hour or so, not 90 minutes.
definitely. Yeah, it was worked correct.
Well, I mean, everything's awesome whenever you get 3 points. I do know
Yeah,
that. uh, the first goal. How good is Leighton Baines?
I'm gonna go ahead and say very.
Just
Uh,
one berry or maybe two?
well,
I would almost put two berries in there.
it depends what your scale of varies is.
The fact that he's tied on assists by a defender in the Premier League historically, I think that makes him very, very good.
Hmm, I'd agree. I think he's well,
So
he's a couple off. He's a couple off his all-time best in a season, and it's still only November.
we've only played
Um,
nine
sorry,
matches.
well, it's still only October. It'll be November by the next time we play.
Right.
Yeah. He, as you said, he's just about to break the Premier League record for a defender with assists, which when we see how many good attacking defenders are knocking about now, I mean that's a fantastic record. And the goal itself was just it was a magnificent goal. It was it was moved. The ball was moved really well, right to left. Everyone getting everyone in the forward lineup getting a touch or getting a couple of touches, and then Baines gets the ball. And I think this is something we've spoke about on previous shows. It's the fact that he is allowed now to put a ball in the box, and it's not an aimless ball. I mean, this does look like it's something they're working on. Players
Hmm.
attacking. I mean, you looked in the box. There was Etoo, there was Barry, there was
Lukaku, there's.
Lukaku, there was Naismith. There was
Hmm.
players all over the place that wanted that ball. So it was a fantastic ball, stood up, and Etoo's just rolled back the ears by smashing the ball off the bar to give us the lead.
Yeah. On crosses, it seems, and I don't know if it's just mentality or mindset, but it seems lately on crosses that Lukaku's not necessarily being the first target, and he's not attacking them. I don't know if this is instructed or if it's just the way things are, but crosses lately seems as though he's kind of acting as a dummy or as a magnet in the
Yeah.
box, and defenders are going to him because he is tall, because he is big and strong, that it's leaving the players. I mean, we saw this all last year. Naismith getting wide open. We saw this in Krasnodar as Etoo got a goal. It just kind of seems like he is the guy in the middle that is going to occupy as much space and or defenders to allow the others to kind of just slip into that spot, and Eto did exactly that.
Well, I mean, I don't think at any point of his career Lukaku's ever stood out as someone who's a fantastic header of the ball. I mean, he scored a header.
When he got knocked out, yeah.
He scored one at West Ham, and I think he scored against Manchester City home. But he's not someone who scores a lot of header goals. So Yes, as you just said correctly, he's almost playing at times as a decoy. Defenders will be attracted to him because of his height and because of his strength, and I think
Hmm.
right, he's the man we've got to mark, and that's where you use a clever ball or you use him as a decoy. And when you've got a player like Samuel Eto'o, he has got all the brains in the world to know how to use that space and is intelligent enough. And Leighton Baines is an intelligent footballer as well and knows how to find plays like that. Um, I get it's all seems to be fitting together at the moment. So I love a crossed goal. I love a header. When you're brought up on Everton, that's what you're brought up on. You're brought up on headed goals. I mean,
Hmm. I
some of the
mean,
best.
Dixie Dean was the header of goals of all time. I think he invented the header goal.
If he didn't, he trademarked it.
Right.
When you're a kid, you're brought up. Certainly, I've been brought up. Anyone,
Yeah.
anyone my age, older, will have watched. You talk about plays there.
Ferguson. Yeah.
Well, some people my age or younger. You're talking about people like Sharp, Reed, uh,
Hmm.
Sharp, Gray,
Hmm.
Rideout, Ferguson. Anyone a little bit older, Latchford. Anyone older, Joe Royal, Dave Hickson.
Hmm.
There's just so many. I mean, there's more. There's so much more. This is Everton style. This has always been Everton style. It's good football, good crosses, good headed goals, and it's nice to see that it's retained under Roberto Martinez. It's something that he obviously has decided that it could be of value to the team, and we've seen so far this season that from crosses we're getting goals, so long may it continue.
Yeah. Another thing that people our age and younger would also be familiar with is the conceding of the crappy goal. And
Mm.
and there definitely was an instance of that in this match with the um, more than unfortunate back pass by Lukaku straight to ex Everton player Lucas Jinkowicz, and he sees a through ball onto that guy.
Well, this is something we spoke about last season. That every time Lukaku seemed to lose the ball, it led to an opposition attack.
Hmm.
Um, Never really worked out as bad as this one did. I mean, this was full on. Um, but I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's a really poor touch. I don't even know why he's that deep anyway in the first place. It's a really poor touch. It leaves us so unguarded because the midfielder are going past him, the defence is coming out, and it
Hmm.
leaves us just short at the back. And before you know it, Danny Ings has gone round Tim Howard. Um, Fair
Could
play to
Howard have
Tim.
done better
No, I don't think he could have because what could he have done if he'd gone and tried to get out
other
Radrian
than foul him and probably pick up a red card?
exactly, and that's what you've got to think about. We bemoan the fact last season against Sunderland that he probably should have just let the player go round him and just
Right.
score.
Let T
Um,
go around. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and you, you know,
Better than Sunderland on the day that day, and we were definitely better than Burnley on the day this
exactly.
match.
It was better to just
To
try
concede,
try and put him off slightly. He couldn't get
yeah,
near him, so
because a slightly worse touch, and he's further away from goal. Maybe McCarthy gets back and can clear it off the line. I mean, he was on dead sprint trying to get back. It was just unfortunate that inch, put it in. So
yeah, I certainly wouldn't blame Tim Howe for anything there. I mean, it was just really really poor by Lukaku, and it's led to a really really poor goal, and it's really frustrating. And um, what can you say? It was just you just gotta. It's typical Everton this season, but you've just got to
mhm.
pick your head up and try and get on with it. Which they did.
Yeah, yeah, because they did get a second before half with an 83 pass build up, I think.
20, 20,
How many?
24.
Oh, okay. So slightly less than 83. It was quite a bit. I know that. Um, and it's something that we've talked about in previous matches with slow build up, and as long as we don't have the horrible back pass like Lukaku made, I think I'm okay with the slow build up. And one thing that we saw in this goal and in the third goal, there's there kind of was a moment in each where the switch went on with one player, where one player makes a forward pass or makes a square ball and then kind of makes a forward run or just says, "All right, now we go." At this on this occasion, whenever Baines has the ball out on the left, he makes a square, slightly forward pass into the middle. I think it was to uh, maybe Barry, and he makes a very forward sprint straight into the box, and what that caused the defense for Burnley to do is like, okay, who's picking up Baines in here? Someone's got to pay attention to him, and it allows Naismith to get the ball forward. It allows him to turn and push it even more forward, and it just seemed very much like a snowball downhill at that. As soon as Baines makes that run forward, it just kind of unravels Burnley's defense.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that. No. No, listen, football. If you don't play with a lot of pace, as in pace from your players, then you need pace from the way you move the ball, or you've got to move it intelligently so that you're creating angles and you're creating space for each other. And what you've just described is players that have been working hard on the training ground, not only moving the ball fast and accurate, but putting themselves in space
Hmm.
so that you're pulling players around, you're moving players. And if anyone's ever played football at any level and played against a team that were clearly on the next level, this happens a lot. You get pulled round left, right, and centre. You're playing with players that have been trained more, not just physically better. They're not just better players, but they're trained to a level where everything's just the next level up, and they pull you into places it's really really hard. Um, so that's what you've got to do. If Everton they're not blessed with lots and lots of pace going forward. They've got fast players, but they don't have players that will we hit players on teams on the break. So when you've got possession, you've really, really just got to move teams around, and that's what happened in the second goal. It's very subtle. It doesn't always look like it's happening in front of your eyes, but
Hmm.
because we're not necessarily seeing it the way they see it because we're
Right.
not. It's so. The fact that you can play 24 passes in a row is just shows you what they're doing. That the fact that because you think about it, you've got 11 players against 11 players. It shouldn't be that hard to stop a team from passing to each other, but yet teams find it very incredibly hard to stop other teams from doing it. So um, it's great movement. It's good crisp passing, and it moves us from just generally playing the ball around to very very quickly being in the box to the ball being at Lukaku's feet,
Yep.
um, and he gets two bites of the cherry, and on the second one he puts it in.
Yeah. Coleman was slightly wanting to take part in something there. Whenever the first shot gets blocked, he's standing about 3 feet away from Lukaku, just screaming for him to lay the ball off. But Lukaku does um, get his foot on it and puts it in. And at that point, everybody's pretty happy because after the back pass and then picking up what I think was a very soft and very unfortunate yellow card, Lukaku's game up until that point was pretty low on the scale of 1 to 10. So getting a goal in that first half and kind of riding the ship, so to speak, was very important for the player.
Listen, and the other thing is, when he scored, you could see that he was very clearly not only relieved, but just really happy that he had been able to
Atone.
rectify, yeah,
Yeah.
the mistake he'd made. So, you could see that he was delighted by that. So that's all you ask for in a player. You ask that for that kind of honesty, that they know they've made a mistake, they know
Hmm.
if they've made a mistake, just rectify that mistake, and he done that, and you can't really ask any more of the player. He's been getting better in the last few weeks. He's been playing better, gradually. So, that where you criticise on the first point, you just say, well, you've done your job, you've got your goal, and we went into the half 2-1 up, and looking, very much the better side.
There's some chatter out online with Etoo and Lukaku, and it's really just confusing for me as far as people slagging Lukaku off, saying he's not good enough. Look at what Eto's doing compared to him. We paid so much money for Lukaku. Why isn't he doing more? And I really just don't understand this because he's he's so young. And obviously we signed him and paid the money for potential in the future and what he is going to bring to Everton. And the fact that we got Etoo playing with him, I just don't understand why people don't realize that Etoo is there to be the instructor, the guidance, the sensei, so to speak.
Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, absolutely. And and Lukaku-san is going to be fine.
Well, the thing about it, you're spot on it. You are spot on. I don't hear anyone sort of overly criticising Ross Barkley, and Ross Barkley's nearly enough the same age. Okay, Ross Barkley might
We didn't pay 28 million quid for him either.
no, but Ross Barkley's a homegrown lad, and as we'll talk about a bit later in the show, homegrown lads can get it just as bad or even worse than a lot of players, because you didn't have to pay for them. So, I don't get it personally. I don't get. I will criticize Lukaku when he makes a mistake. When he made for that mistake for the goal, I criticize them. I understand where he needs to get better, but he's 21. If he was 25, I'd be really sort of worried about him, saying, well, if he hasn't learned it by now, he's not going to learn it. I still think he's got a lot to learn, but a lot to offer. I think the manager, if he didn't think that he was good enough, he wouldn't have paid the money. If he didn't think he could learn, he wouldn't have paid the money. That's just simple facts. He's brought Etoo in, not only
Which
for
is
what
still
Etoo,
amazing.
yeah, not only for what Etoo can do, but how he can teach Lukaku. Now, we've heard quotes this week from Lukaku say they spend a lot of time together. They spend a lot of time after training, having shooting contests and that kind of thing. All these things. That's what you want to hear. You see Etoo on the pitch pointing at Lukaku, saying, I want you to make a run down there. When I pick up the ball, that's where I want you to go. That's
Right.
not a bad thing.
It's not criticizing. It's instructing.
That's a really, really fantastic thing, because the thing about
it's
it
not a
is
bad thing, no.
you can do things on the training pitch, and it's on the training pitch. It's in simulated
Hmm.
conditions in a real match when things are happening in real time. That's when real coaching takes effect. I mean, you always hear that thing about like soldiers, the training takes over.
Hmm.
When you're playing in real games, you need that to happen on the pitch. You need to be instructed on the pitch, and when you've got someone like Etoo telling them where to go, that's fantastic for me. So I'm really encouraged by that. I'm really encouraged by what Etoo's doing. I think it was always an intelligent signing. We're seeing, he scored 4 goals as well. He's on the pitch, and whereas at the beginning of the season it was almost like, well, is he going to play up front? Is he going to play when Lukaku's not playing? Is he going to play in a 3? what we seen last week is him playing in the number 10 role, and not
As a
having
number
to,
five, yeah.
yeah, not having to like run around the pitch and go mad, just playing in that hole, dragging defenders away from where they want to be. And when you've seen it, when he gets the ball, it's instant control. It's a quick touch, and he's always got time. He's always got time. And that's what really, really good players have got is time. They create time themselves because they create space. They drop into spaces that other players don't see. It's so intelligent, and
Hmm.
we've got a manager who'll know exactly when to play him and when not to play him. If he's not physically in the right state, then he won't be played. If he is, then he will be played. There'll be an eagerness to play him this weekend because he's come off the back of playing against Swansea. Now, playing off the back of playing against Burnley. Now, the manager might feel physically no, or then he might say, well, he's had a week off. It's fine.
Hmm.
That's what the manager's got to decide. But at least Eto's giving him the choice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas last season he was played as a bit of a battering ram, Eto, when he was at Chelsea. So he was in the team, then he was out the team for a couple of weeks, then he was back in the team because every game he was getting physically pushed to his limit.
Right.
For us, you don't feel like that's the case. With us, he's getting played in roles that suit his shape, and it's great.
Yeah. 2-1 halftime. Everything's looking pretty good at Turf Moor for Everton going in at the half. Second half starts, no changes. Burnley really just didn't ever seem to get back into this match in the second half for me.
No, they didn't really look like it. And it was very comfortable for us, but at times it was too comfortable for us. And what worried me was obviously we played Palace and we played Leicester, and we played where games get too comfortable for us.
Sure.
We take our eye off the ball and it's all just pass, and then we give it away sillily. And what I wanted second half.
Osman off.
Well, what I wanted to just see us go for the third goal and push for it. Have control, but push for a third goal and kill the game off. And we never really looked like we were going to do that for the first 35 minutes.
Right.
And that does annoy me at times when you're playing against weaker opposition and you think to just go and finish them off, just go and get a third. I think that's what we need to start getting in a habit of doing, so that when we're playing the better teams, that we're also encouraged to do that.
Yeah. Gareth Barry picks up another yellow card. How many is that for him this year? Is he close to being suspended yet?
I think it's 4.
Right. So he's on yellow card warning now until January. Don't see that happening.
You know what? I mean, that's not as big a problem as it was last season, though, is it really?
Right.
Because let's be honest, he's played nearly every game, and if he does get one out, I don't think it'll be. I mean, he's on Sunday. He was absolutely fantastic. He was brilliant. You could see his fitness is now completely up to scratch. Where early on the season it was a little bit of a worry. He looks immaculate, but when he gets that booking, he'll go out and miss a game, and someone like Bessage will come in or Gibson will come in.
It's nice to know that we've got more options than we did last year. Last year it was Barry or nothing with Gibson injured, and there wasn't a Bessage or someone else that could come in and fill platoon that role for 90 minutes. So it's not as nearly as dire as last year.
Yeah, because what we've seen last season when he went out the side, there was a tendency to maybe drop Ross Barkley in there, and
right,
it just never really worked the same. So it's good that we've got
a Heitinga in there.
We've got the options now. That's the difference.
Yeah. We see Barkley and Pinar come on, and Pinar makes a pretty important impact, uh,
I
taking the
mean,
ball.
listen, Pinas. People criticise him. For me, he's still a really top class player. You seen him last week when he came on. He keeps the ball, he holds the ball, he wins fouls. He's
Yep.
intelligent. He sees things happening before they happen. He can see a picture on the pitch. He's a really intelligent player, and to have a player like that in your squad, again, he's not going to be playing every single week now.
Right.
There's times when you can dip him in and dip him out, but that's good. That's good for him as well, though. I mean, he'll probably say, I want to be playing as many games as I can at this time of his career, but at the same time,
Maybe he is. Maybe
yeah,
he is playing as many games as he can.
exactly, because of his injury record. It's about managing him, and it, it's great to be in a couple of competitions at the same time where you can play, a lot of players. I mean, we've talked about the Europa League, and other people have talked about the Europa League endlessly. But when you've got a decent sized squad and you've got them all fit, and there are players you can swap, it's good to have this many games. You can keep more people happy. People are playing, and when it
Yep.
comes to the Saturday or the Sunday when you've got a big game, everyone's pushing for it. Everyone wants to play. Everyone's wants to improve and wants to be knocking on the door. So that's where it's for me, is where having this many games is ideal.
Yep. Unfortunately, we lost to Swansea in the League Cup and got knocked out of that competition, or else we could have some more matches. But it is what it is.
Hmm.
So Pinar comes in, makes instant, not really instant, but makes a very quick impact onto the match. Gets the ball to Etoo from about 27, 28 yards out, and I've watched this shot replay about 62 times, and I still cannot tell if
Hmm.
it's been deflected off the defender's arm or not. But I don't care because it's an awesome goal.
I've watched it a couple of times, and I never get that. I don't get any kind of idea that it gets deflected. I just think it's just so intelligent play. He uses the defender
As a
uses the
screen,
defender
yeah.
as a screen, and he just kills it around them. And I just think it's top notch finishing. And you can see by the fans behind the goal, they could see it was in before it
Hmm.
was in. That's how
Oh
good a
yeah.
finish it was. So, what more can you say about him? We've spoke about him already. That's what he does.
Yeah, it's just Super Sammy, and it's what he does, and he plays for Everton.
And it's just so annoying that he didn't get the hat-trick goal.
Oh
It
yeah,
would,
I almost totally forgot about that horrible back pass, or a great back pass if you're an Everton fan. But that
look how
angle
fast
was.
he's on it, though. Look how fast
Oh,
he's
and
on it. Look how fast. Look. Do you know what? As soon as as soon as that player turned around, he knew what was going to. He's got years
sure,
and years and years of experience. He
he
could
knew
see what was going
exactly
to
where
happen.
that ball was going, and if it was a little light, which it happened to be, he was going to get there before the keeper does.
Yeah, he was on top of it straight away. Was all over it, and so unlucky not to get the perfect hat trick.
Yeah.
Would have been absolutely fantastic.
You think if it was a little bit like what, maybe half an inch to the left, it would have bounced in.
All
I
right,
mean,
it just
not
needed a
much.
tiny, it just
Little
needed a
little a
tiny,
little spin, a little
just a bit
English
of
on it.
spin, just a little bit of spin. Just that's all it needed. It didn't need to be hit any harder, because if it hit any harder, it would have hit the post and bounced away. It just needed to have just a little tiny bit of something on it. Even if it hit a stray piece of grass or something, it would have just needed something to take it in. Oh, would have been absolutely perfect for him. Would have been a perfect day for him, but not to be. And you know what? His hunger will drive him on to get that at some other point.
Hmm. Yeah, but great win for Everton. 3 points sees us climb up to top half of the table for the first time since week one, and it's starting to feel a little bit better. The league position. There's a lot of clubs rammed together between third and 10th in the league. So you think a couple more wins on the bounce, and we're right back into the more comfortable zone of where we want to be, kicking on, moving forward, and just get back into touch of those top four spots. The teams like West Ham and Southampton.
Eric, as I said to you earlier on the season, I've said it all season, it's going to be so much tighter this season, this Premier League. I generally believe that our points tally last season would easily get us into the Champions League this season if we can achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we will, but as I say, that's going to be a hard number to get to for anyone, because you've seen it already. West Ham are winning games, Southampton are winning games. You've got other teams out there taking points off other sides. You see 1 minute, you look at a team and you think actually they're doing well this season, and then you look at the position in the table and it's quite low. It's so it's so strange. The
Yeah,
league.
I mean Swansea. I mean we'll talk about them coming up. They started the season on fire. You look at their position now; they're below us.
Exactly.
But we'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about them. That was like 35 minutes.
Awesome.
Okay. Ready? Do we have a piece from Patty? Of course. He's awesome. Ooh, don't see it.
No, because he normally does it tonight.
Okay. Well, I'm not editing right away. I can wait for him to do it if he wants to do it still.
Oh, okay.
So I
No
can edit.
problem.
I can edit a little bit later. That way, yeah, it comes out.
And if not, I can put it in tomorrow.
Okay.
Just don't mention it, and I can put it in tomorrow.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, we're back on Follow Tony. It's brought to you by A.F.C. Services Limited. Let's get into this Swansea match. They come into Goodison Park. Everton's form is looking pretty good lately, starting to gain some points, as we mentioned earlier. Climbing the table up to 9th. Unfortunately, United got a last-minute equalizer against Chelsea and managed to pop right back above us, or else we could have been in 8th.
No, but it's better, isn't it? We're getting there. We're getting a little bit closer. But I don't really think it matters at this stage of the season. I think it's all about picking up those wins, getting the points in the bag. That's the most important thing, I think, this time of year.
Yeah, the 3 points at Burnley are those points that we need to put into the bank early, though.
Yeah, I was saying you can look at the league all you want. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything at this time of year. It only means something at the end of the season, or certainly once you get into once everyone's played each other. It doesn't really matter at this time of year. Everton just need to concentrate on picking up those wins, getting back-to-back wins, and going from there. I mean, that's all we can really worry about at the moment. And we might get 3 points on Saturday, and it mightn't really get us anywhere, but it doesn't matter. It's all about picking up those wins. So
I don't think that argument would fly with West Ham and Southampton supporters, but we're neither of those, so it's fine by me.
But they've got being in 4th now isn't the be all and end all, is it? It's about having points in the bag, and
right.
that's what we've got to continue to pick up now.
Yep, definitely. Uh, Swansea just got knocked out of the League Cup with a trip to Anfield. So they return Merseyside a few days later to the correct side of Stanley Park, and it's going to be it's not going to be easy. They're definitely formidable opponents. They've got some really good talented players, and I mean as we saw with our trip to Swansea when we got knocked out of the Capital One Cup. So
I think they're a good side. I think what they've got is they're at a level where they play good football.
mhm.
I think well they are actually above us in the table, aren't they? They're 2 points above. They've got 2 points more than us, so they're 3 points above us. 3 places above us.
All right.
They're a good side. They base themselves off what Martinez left. This is the irony of it. The thing Martinez created something there. Brendan Rodgers continued it. Michael Laudrup continued as well, but what he did is he tinkered with it slightly. I think he was looking to do things that the club didn't necessarily want to do. Maybe go out and buy players or the next level up and create financial issues that Swansea didn't really want to go down to. And now under Monk, they've gone back to the principles of good footballers, not necessarily have to be household names, but what they've got with Bonet up front is a really, really top class striker who not only is a really good finisher, but is the way he holds the ball up
Yep.
is fantastic. Keeps the ball really well, and he's got good players around him. Shelby's turning into a good player. He's got better
Voldemort, yeah.
as he's gone there. He plays a lot more games. Routledge is turning into a good player. Sigurdsson's a fantastic player, although I think he might be injured. He's been brilliant for them this season. He would have been absolutely ideal for us. Key has been brilliant. We've seen him last season at Sunderland. He's gone back and he's been really good. Montero on the wing is lightning quick. So they've got rid of a lot of these players that lads have brought in, and they've replaced them with really good, talented, honest players. But saying all that, I think we should be able to beat them. I think when it comes to teams like Swansea, they'll give you a really good game, and it might come down to key moments. And I just think we've got better players that can change games. So it'll be interesting to see. As I say, I think Bonnie's a fantastic player and can really hurt us. So we've got to be very wary of him.
Yeah. He's definitely going to be someone that keeps Alcaraz and Jagielka and Gareth Barry occupied. Maybe all three of them at once.
Yeah, it's just the way he holds the ball up. He can hold the ball up so well. The way he holds it up is fantastic. He just really, really gets it into his body really tight. Then he gives, because of his strength, because of his size, he can turn really easily. He can spin players. He's just a really, really good centre forward, and he's a player that I think a lot of us would like to see Lukaku sort of a kind of play with Lukaku to be, just the way he holds the ball, because as we've seen at the moment, Lukaku's hold up play is not the greatest in the world. So if he can get parts of his game that are near his, then we'd have a fantastic striker on our hands.
Yeah. The match with Liverpool sees their defender Fernandez pick up a red card, so he will not be available for our match.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, so what?
Yeah, right. I'm just saying, just another variable out there, but yeah, I don't think that's nearly as important. But
yeah, I thought it was Boney, but
yeah, I'd rather it was Boney too, but it's just not going to happen. But anything else as far as this match?
Well,
yeah.
as you said, we've been beaten by them already this season, so
Right.
it would be really nice if we can just make sure that we don't lose to them in the league. We've never been beaten by them in the league, so it'd be nice if that
We've never
continues.
been beaten by them ever before we went to
Well, yeah, that's why I said the league.
right. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we yeah, you have to classify that as just in the league now. You just can't say
Mm.
ever. But
And
yeah,
hopefully that continues.
yeah. 3 points.
3 points, keep it going, get us a little bit further up the league, and it'll be ideal preparation for the Lille game at
Yeah.
home on Thursday.
Yeah. Europa League seems to be going pretty good for Everton so far. We followed this mantra of win your home games and draw your away games, and you'll be fine. So we're sitting on 5 points. Wolfsburg's on 4, Lille's on 3, and Krasnodar's on 2. 3 points here would see us go 8, and 5 points clear of second place or third place. Sorry.
I think if we
So,
can get 3 points and we can, then be in a position where we'd really only need one more point to qualify. So that's basically
yeah,
what we
we'd
want.
either need one more point or we would need Krasnodar to take a point off of Lille
Yeah,
in
but
that fifth match. So yeah,
well, beat Lille, and then what we're doing then is we're in a position where we can go to Wolfsburg to win the group.
yep.
So that's exactly what we want. We just want to get through as early as we can. I mean, the
And that
Krasnodar
last
game.
last match against Krasnodar can be a U21 showcase.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that. I would say what it would mean is that when you play Krasnodar, you can play your other players in the squad. I don't think. I think we've got a squad big enough. I think when we play Krasnodar, we play QPR 4 days later on the Monday night.
Right.
And what it means is you can play the squad players or a
Your
mix. Or
Oviedos, your yeah,
yeah, you can mix it up a little bit. So it'd be nice to have it done by then, and that obviously that will. If we beat Lille, then that's a massive step forward. I mean, we played them away, and they looked okay. They looked okay on the break. But you think that if we played them at home and we put out the likes of McCarthy and the likes of Coleman, then we could win it, and we could win it quite comfortably.
sure.
So
I agree.
that's the level we should be aiming for. And as you say, Wolfsburg play Krasnodar. You'd expect Wolfsburg to beat Krasnodar at home. That would push them up onto 7 points. So obviously a win is exactly what we need. And then we'd play Wolfsburg, and obviously it'd be a case of if we can get a positive result in that would maybe mean that the group was wrapped up. But
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
important that we win it. It's important that we win it, because if we don't win it and we finish second in the group, then the likelihood is we get a Champions League team that drops out. Sometimes that can be a good thing because you get a Champions League team and they're not really that bothered, but it does mean playing stronger opposition. So, but plus we want to win the group anyway. We don't want to lose any games. We want to win the group, and if we can have it all sorted by the Krasnodar game.
Yeah, there'll definitely be less Lille fans in Liverpool than there were Everton fans in Lille.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case.
And I would hope to think that the Merseyside police force will be a little bit more civilized as well.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there'll be any issues from anyone anywhere.
Yeah. So, okay. There's the Swansea match and Lille match, and I think wins in both are very fair and very possible. We could talk about the U21 side, and they're kind of starting to turn over as well, and got a win.
We got a win this week against Norwich.
Yep.
3-0 win. And really, I mean, the what just wanted to mention them because David Hennon scored scored a really good goal, and
Hmm.
Chris Long scored an absolute wonder goal. Anyone who's seen it online, it's absolutely
Yeah,
fantastic strike, and
it's nice.
he he was knocking the first team door in pre-season, so it's really nice to see that, and it's nice to see Hennon as well scoring a goal and getting off the mark as well.
Yep, definitely. Not not a whole lot of news from the club this time of year. It's just kind of quiet. There were some excerpts from a book from Leon Osman that's coming out that have been published and splattered all over social media and in the Echo, and there's just a lot of mixed emotions and reactions to some of these things that have been quoted from his book.
Would you care to read an excerpt?
No, would you? It's my birthday. I don't have to do anything if I don't want to.
You should, if you plan this a little better, you'd have all the excerpts in front of you.
That's what
Basically,
you're
what
for. I set it up so you can knock it down. I'm the assist
what
man. You're the goal scorer. Put it in.
what basically has been in the book, without quoting it, is basically referring to Tim Cahill when he came back for David Moyes' last game against West Ham.
Hmm.
What he basically said was he didn't feel it was right that Tim Cahill should come out last, and he said he should have come out before Phil Neville and Tim Cahill and David Moyes, as it was their last games at Goodison Park, which I think is a fair enough point. I think that's fair enough. But he said what happened was they went out for a meal afterwards, and Tim Cahill went to the bathroom, and when he came back, they all stood up and clapped him, which he said Tim Cahill wasn't too happy about. This sort of set off a few fans who started tweeting Tim Cahill about it, which Tim Cahill started favouring those tweets to make the situation even worse. But I'm sure he was sitting at home though, texting Leon Osman saying, right, let's have a bit of a laugh about this. So yeah, it is really quite funny, the situation. It's led to some people almost getting this issue of Team Aussie, Team Kale, which I just think is ridiculous. It's what Osman said, whether you like it or not. Osman's trying to sell his book. At the end of the day, Osman hasn't got much to talk about regarding like winning trophies and things. It's sort of like a fly on the wall of the 10 years under David Moyes. So that's where it could be a really interesting read.
Right.
It just made me laugh the way that Kale stoked the fires a little bit, and Kale put a picture of him, David Moyes, and Phil Neville at the last game of the season as well, to sort of say, look, everything's fine. Another thing that he said in the book was that David Moyes should be allowed to come back to Goodison whenever he wants, and should get a good
Reception. Yeah.
welcome,
Good. Yes.
good reception, that kind of thing. So that's another interesting thing. Some fans have obviously said things about that, and there's a lot of fans who just don't like Leon Osman and have waited for any opportunity to have a go at him. The thing about it is, it's like everything else. It's like when the Rooney thing happened. It hurts at first when things get said or things happen, especially with what David Moyes and the whole Osman and Fellaini thing. But I suppose over time, and you start looking back at the bigger picture, fans will appreciate what he did for us over 11 years, not for what he did over a couple of months of a pre-season while at Manchester United, all the way he left the club.
Yeah. It's just really it leaves just a bitter taste in my mouth to have a player tell me and dictate to me how I should feel about things. I don't know. I understand exactly where he's coming from and everything that he said, and as far as Moyes is concerned, and maybe whenever we do look back on it, the way that things played out after he left and went to Manchester United and was trying to buy Osman or by Leighton Baines for so cheap, and maybe we just need to thank him for actually taking Fellaini and giving us the cash to buy Lukaku, but it's just really weird. And the timing of it all, and that the fact that he's still playing to put a book out. And I know Tim Howard's got a book coming out, and he'll still be in the squad. So it's just going to be interesting to see what kind of things are in it and how it's received as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it doesn't look like the club have got any problems with it because they're actively pushing the book themselves.
But we do have Robot Ped, so that's pretty awesome.
Hello.
Yeah, Robot Nicked.
Taylor Swift has just wished you happy birthday, by the way.
Cool.
In the Q&A.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When are you going to get this thing fixed?
Never.
Probably not. It's really weird. You can't hear it, can you?
No. Duff beer for you, duff beer for me. Is it done yet? Is it done yet?
Yes, it actually just cleared up.
Okay, where was I up to? Tell me.
I just cut out everything, the whole show.
You just
It's
don't
just going
want
to
to
be
go.
interesting to see what kind.
Go on. What are you saying?
It's just going to be interesting to see what kind of things are in it and how it's received as well. That's where it started going.
Oh, you said about Tim Howard's book.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where I came in and mentioned that the club hadn't had any problems with it.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me find it up here. All right, ready, set, go.
Well, I mean, the club don't seem to have any problems on it. They haven't, seemed to object to it. They've been promoting it. So from that point of view, you can't really see there being any issues within the squad. Yes, Tim Howard's got a book coming out as well, and that'll be interesting. Probably more for to view for Americans because of the things it says in it. So, we'll wait and see. I mean, as I said, I mean, what has he got? What things has he got to talk about other than what's actually gone on in the squad?
His one English cap.
I'm sure it'll be an eye opener to what went on during the time of David Moyes' reign at Goodison. So from that point of view, good luck to him.
Yeah. So.
I don't feel any way I don't feel any way towards it. I'm not really too. He hasn't sort of gone out and done anything socially. He's the problem with it. How I feel about him on the pitch. If someone sends me a copy for nothing, of course I'll read it.
So you're not going to buy it?
I don't buy anything, Eric. You know this.
Right. Even your season ticket.
Oh, okay. I'm sure it'll be interesting. It doesn't alter anything I feel about him as a player or
For the better or
anything like
worse.
that. So yeah, exactly.
Right.
But you know,
Okay.
just, I'm not. I don't point in the hate. It's just one of those things.
Right. Anything else you care to add to the end of the show before we sign off?
No, just happy birthday, Eric. I'm sorry it couldn't be in better circumstances with the Royals losing, but hey, you got to spend some time with me, so surely that's going to brighten up your day.
It 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 might yeah. Thanks, man. I
Now you can,
appreciate it.
because we've done it early. You can go and spend a lovely evening with your family.
Sounds good. And you can get to bed before it gets dark outside.
It's already dark outside.
Okay. All right. Well, go to bed, Ped. All right. Thanks everybody for listening, tuning in. We'll talk to you next week. 3 points Swansea, and hopefully we can all but wrap up the advancing out of the group stages of the Europa League. Come on, you Blues, let's go.